we're here to discuss a little bit more about the Hookah Expo. If you haven't been able to catch the AM Hookah podcast, I did post it in the chat down below earlier. Just scroll down. Matt, Rob, Dude, Where's My Hookah, and Adrian Hunter did a great job yesterday explaining their whole experience in Vegas. So I think it's definitely something to watch, especially with Rob on, as he was actually part of the whole experience. He was a behind-the-scenes guy, which I didn't know when I was there, which is super interesting to go and check that out. So don't check it out now, but check it out later. That would be so I guarantee it will be you'll get something out of it for everyone. But so guys, we're finally like unraveled from the expo. The jet lag is over. And we're gearing up towards the Chicago meetup, so I figured now would be a great time to talk about everything that went down in the expo from our perspectives. Well, maybe not everything, but most of the stuff. The stuff we actually would enjoy to talk about. So, really quick, we all met up at the expo out there in Las Vegas. I think it was what the 5th and 6th or 4th and 5th, some shit like that. I always forget the dates. I'm really bad with remembering 4th and 5th. There we go. So yeah, so we had a really good time. It was really nice to see everyone. But let's dive more in depth. I really want to get to the first topic, which is I know a lot of people here in the hookah community have children, which is kind of one of the reasons.
Hear Jeremy from the background, actually.
Yeah, you can actually hear Jeremy's kids. But I think there's a lot of different factors that keep us from going to these things. Let it be money, or travel plans, you know, work, children, spouses, whatever it is. And I think it would be interesting to get Jeremy and Matt's take on how they were able to juggle the monumentous task of actually being able to find the free time to get away from the children. Especially Jeremy and Matt have a combined tribe of children that, if armed, would be very deadly to the society. So I would like to see Matt, Jeremy, like, let's start with Jeremy. Like, how, like, you have a job, you work full time, you have a house which you newly moved into, and you have children. How do you find the time to be like, you know what, honey, I'm going to Vegas for a couple days to hang out and smoke hookah? Like, is that something that you're like, oh yeah, that's fine?
Well, my wife is very supportive of what I do. Mm-hmm. We moved into our house exactly 60 days to the date that I left for Vegas.
Congrats on the new house, by the way. I know it's a stressful endeavor.
Moving a family of 5 is a very, very insane thing. I was wondering who was going to screw this up first, Matt, me or you, but I think I'm doing okay. You know, it's a very stressful situation. It's a very stressful situation for my wife to handle 3 kids to start with, and then you add that to 24 hours a day. Planning a trip out to Vegas is never easy. It's always expensive. Mm-hmm. And it was a long time coming. We try and do events everywhere, but, you know, Vegas was kind of a big deal for me because, you know, it cost us almost 25K to move.
Yeah.
And then heading to the Vegas 60 days later.
That's crazy.
So
was it something was it something you like sprung on her, or she kind of knew that you wanted to do this ahead of time?
We've been talking about it for months ahead of time. It's something you got to plan. Myself and Travis have been planning it since we went to Chicago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was honestly insane. And thankfully to her, I had the freedom to go and the ability to go.
Well, that's awesome. Matt, now you have 4 beautiful girls, and you just keep on making more Desinds. Like, they're just, like, you have a spawn cave somewhere, and they just keep popping out. You have so many. You're going to run out of room very soon. Now, you did something that very few people actually did. You drove there.
Yeah.
Now, driving there for me, I would hate it. I hate the thing. I'm like, just get me there. I want to be there as fast as possible. I hate traveling. Now, how was the experience when it came to driving? Because, like, it's just you alone, stretch a highway or a stretch of road for what, 8 hours?
Yeah, it was an 8-hour drive, and I'll tell you what, by hour number 6, I was definitely pulling my hair out. Mm-hmm. I was ready to be there already. I was done with the traveling. Once I made it to the city, it wasn't all that bad, obviously.
Because you have things to look at, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, you know, the drive there is actually really nice. You know, the drive between Idaho to Las Vegas, there's a lot of mountains, there's a lot of pretty scenery and stuff. So that was nice. I listened to a ton of podcasts. I listened to some classrooms as well. Actually, like I had cell reception, so I just kind of put my phone off to the side, plugged it into.
I am so sorry. That's all you had is the monotony of the classroom.
It was good conversation. It was a decent experience and a good travel. Would I do it again? I haven't decided. Next time it was about even when it comes to either deciding if I want to fly out there cost-wise or drive out there cost-wise. Each one's about $190 either way. So it was nice having my car. You know, I was able to drive to the expo every day. I didn't have to worry about doing an Uber for that. I took an Uber for tons of stuff, obviously, but just having my car for just that part of it was kind of nice. It was easier to travel and everything. Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, the reason why I was able to go out and meet my wonderful wife and 4 beautiful girls was because I have a very supporting wife and who understood that the reason why I was going out to this was not just purely for the absolute wonderful joy, but also because it's a big part of like me as a person and my hobby and what I enjoy and my passion and stuff. So, you know, all the love in the world goes out to her for understanding that and never giving any problems with it. I mean, as soon as I wasn't able to go to the first one last year, I said the moment tickets go on sale for this next one, I'm going to do everything I can to go to this, just so you're prepped and prepared and ready. I even told her after the banner went up for the 2019 one, I said, the banner's up. So when those tickets go on sale, like I'm going to buy them and I'm going to go to it. So we got to be prepped, ready to go for this. But yeah, she took on the daunting task of taking all my kids with my in-laws to go clothes shopping for school.
Oh,
so,
wow.
like,
Okay.
He was working double time while I was down just smoking a bunch of hookah and hanging out with people and stuff. So yeah, all the love in the world goes out.
Oh, so you know down the line you got to repay this. You got to repay it in blood.
For sure, that's that.
Yeah, but like you were saying about the travel, like by car. Me, I would get inside my own head. I would start seeing an evil version of me that's telling me to do like evil things, like sitting next to me. I would be so delusional. So I don't know how you did it. So Travis, me and you, we flew out there.
Yeah, buddy.
And luckily, we don't have anything like kids or like I mean, we both have jobs, but I think children in the family life would definitely be a bigger burden on my decision of going out there. So for all the parents out there, man, that's great. I mean, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm very jealous of your amazing partners for undertaking that. Yeah.
So
I don't know if I could have done the same.
So this next question, Travis, for you, how was the pricing for the plane ticket? How'd you get that? Was it like a spur of the moment thing? Were you saving for it?
No, I mean, like I'm lucky to have disposable income, so I just bought the ticket. It was like
being one of
the
single slubs that we are.
I like being a bachelor.
Yeah,
it comes in handy.
Yeah.
Well, here's a little tip or trick for y'all that want to fly out. If you book your tickets 7 weeks in advance, they're typically a lot cheaper. I paid $300 for mine round trip first class through Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
Although I got screwed on my flight home and I missed a day of work, but you know, it is what it is.
Okay. Well, on that, while we're on the topic of price points and money and all that stuff, when it came to hotels, like Jeremy and Travis were part of the frat house, which we will talk about in a moment. Matt, you also had a little kind of a frat thing in your little get-together. You hung out with some of the Hookah Hangs guys, Eddie, Paul, and Bracken. Now, did you see was it really expensive to get that? Because I stayed in the Venetian, and the Venetian is very nice. It's definitely a place I think everyone should stay at least once, but it was pricey. It was very expensive. I don't think I will be staying there, especially if I ever go by myself. Did you find, like, because in the community there's no shortage of people who kind of went, did you find it hard to find people to room with while you were there?
No, originally I was going to stay by myself. I got a hotel and everything on my own, and I was planning on just actually staying at a hotel all by my lonesome. And then luckily, Paul, who has a timeshare down there in Vegas, he was like, you know, if you don't want to, you can crash with us and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. I don't mind doing that. Doug was going to stay with him too, but Doug ended up staying with his cousin instead. So I was able to crash with Paul, Eddie, and Bracken, and we had an absolute fantastic time. That made the trip 10 times better, honestly, because getting back from the expo or from the frat house and just like unwinding with people who are all into the same stuff as you, and you're able to like talk about what you did that day and like what all happened. Like it was a good way to like mellow out from this like real big high to just bring it down a little bit to kind of calm down. So that was actually the best part of it, was hanging out with people.
It also brings it like full circle that you're constantly engaging with people on the hobby you like. Personally, which we usually do over hangs, But to do it in person, and I think one of the hardest things was to separate from everyone. You know, it kind of sucked leaving everyone because you have this bond, and you know that these people you would hang out with on a daily basis, that now you have to go back to wherever you're from, and they're not around all the time. So
it was very natural too, like just being able to sit there and talk to people, like you said, that we talked to so frequently on like hangs and stuff. It was very natural. Like there was a part of me that was like kind of worried, like, am I gonna like these people? Are we gonna get along? And it was just like nothing skipped a beat. We were all right there in the moment. It was very natural.
It is awesome. Funny because it is in the back of your head. You're like, shit, I never met this person. I hope they fucking aren't a crazy psychopath. I mean,
see, that was one of the cool things about some of the previous meetups that a lot of us had been together through things like TPE, Chicago, other little meetups. So it was kind of cool to reconnect with people that you've already connected with and then to connect with other people that you quite haven't, but you've hung out with on hangs all the time. So it was really interesting, and I think it was an amazing experience myself.
Yeah, Jeremy, how was your experience with everyone, with the whole staying with them and, like, you know, for a couple days? I know you had an exhausting 3 days out there, or 4 days, or whatever you stayed out there.
I don't know how you guys survived. Like, I left still partying the entire time.
Yeah, I flew out there Thursday night, got in, and I flew home. I guess you could call it Tuesday morning. Yeah, that's what I would call it, because I left Las Vegas at like 4 a.m. local time. Got back home at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, coupled with an extreme trip that we had a bunch of fun. Every single night, people were at the house hanging out. It was a great sense of camaraderie, a great sense of community. It's something that's made me realize that this is what we want to bring online. And I think, you know, just not to toot your own horn a little bit, Chris, I think what you're doing with the classroom is helping towards that goal. Same thing with you, Matt, and, you know, bringing community back in, getting the community's input. Because when you're there with other people, it's amazing. Matt hung out with us one night till 2 or 3 in the morning. Chris was there till midnight. So was Susie. We had Callie in from Denmark. I mean, people that you would never get to, you know, interact with on a local basis. You were able to come out and just hang out with like old friends that you've talked to for a year or more.
And I think some of these. That definitely, that's like one of the greatest things, is that it's so effortlessly. Like, it just happens. You just blend in like you've known these guys for so long. Because you kind of have. Also, Hookah Frank, Moyes, Eddie, Paul, Frank, all those cats, Bracken. We had a crew out there. We had a great time. I mean, that's one of the best things about this was just hanging out. I think I actually had more fun hanging out at the house and all the other stuff we did, and going to get all-you-can-eat sushi with Matt, and the little things out there. And then, like, you know, the expo was just like, you know, the event. It was like the thing to do that brought everyone back together. Really quick, let's segue into the expo now. So the first topic I want to talk about, was it too big or too small? Because I felt a little bit of like the first day overwhelming. You're trying to move from booth to booth, meet all these different people, shake hands. You want to spend as much time as you possibly can. For me, it was a little bit different because I was doing video, I was taking photos, doing all this other stuff, which is very exhausting. Matt can let you know on that. And then on top of it, you want to see all the products. I almost felt like 2 days wasn't enough. I felt like I didn't even get to see everything the first day, but I was so exhausted going into that Sunday. I was just like already mentally drained, because when you're in an expo setting, like everything is constantly going. You're constantly mingling, constantly talking. Your senses are constantly being fucking overloaded by all these shisha and all these pretty ladies dancing and all this other stuff happening. What did you guys think? Did you think the expo was big enough, or do you think that you expected to see more?
I think in terms of like the amount of days that it was too small. Like, the expo itself was too big for the amount of days that they had it crammed into. Personally, and I think like most of us would agree to this, because we're such, you know, hookah nerds and stuff. Like, I want 3 or 4 days of this. Like, the very first day, just like you were saying, Chris, like I was kind of trying to get all like my footage and like my pictures taken, so like I could really hang out on that second day. But by the time you're done with everything that you think that you need to get. You feel exhausted mentally from trying to get all that stuff done. So even on the second day, like I was kind of exhausted. Like I didn't get to see everything that I wanted to. I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to. I didn't get to hang out with everybody that I wanted to. That was, I wanted to spend more time with certain people. I wanted to spend more time at certain booths and stuff like that. I mean, I thought that the actual size of the expo itself was great. I love the amount of people, the amount of vendors, the amount of exhibits that we saw, but I would have rather had more days. Like I would have really liked it if it was a 3 or 4 day event, especially having the hookah battle take up so much time on the second day. It would have been nice to have something else to also be there to either be entertained by, watch, or be a part of on that third, or if there was a 4th day type thing. I think that'd be really cool. But as it stands, I like the size of it, and I know that it can only grow from here personally.
All right, Travis, what about you?
Personally, myself, I wouldn't want more than 2 days. Even after day 1, I was kind of done. Because, like Jeremy said, we flew in Thursday night, so we partied Thursday night. Then we went to the club Friday night.
Well, that's because you guys are fucking maniacs. Let's
but I mean, crazy. We are a little bit. But honestly, I saw everything on day 1. I got to hang out with a bunch of the owners that I know, that I've hung out with before, some that I haven't. I liked it better out. Like, I love that the Expo brought us all there, and it was fun, and I would totally do it again. And I support John and what he does, because it's great for the community. But for me personally, 2 days max, call it a day. A lot of the stuff happened outside of the Expo as far as hangouts, and that's what I look forward to more. Was like, is it 5 o'clock yet? What are we doing? Where's the party at tonight?
Yeah, I think that speaks to why the meetups are so popular, but we'll get into that. Jeremy, what about you?
The size of the expo, I'd like to see it grow, only because I'm doing it for selfish reasons. I would like to see our community grow. I'd like to see new stuff come out, innovation, really push forward. A lot of the little guys, as Derek Moses was mentioning in the comments, I'd like to see some different accommodations for the smaller guys who can't afford the larger booths, guys that are, just getting started, or, have a smaller market, real enthusiast-based cores to their product. But as it grows bigger, I'd like to see maybe 2, maybe 3 days if it gets bigger. But if it's going to remain the same size, I would like to see, it hold the 2-day format.
Okay, well, before we get...
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, before we get into, before we get into people that we would like to see, or vendors or companies that we would like to see at the expo, let's talk about who was there. Let's cover that first. Now, like, some of my favorite booths were Regal, Phoenix, and Alpaca. I think my sleeper favorite had to be the Alpha Kama booth, just because I've already seen, like, the Fumari booth. Not to take anything away from the Fumari booth, but, like, I saw their setup at the Hookah Fair in New York City, and I do like their whole setup. But what were some of your favorite booth, and what was a booth that kind of made you go like, oh crap, this is really nice? Let's start with Jeremy.
Well, getting to go to TPE before, I've seen a lot of the people there. A lot of them are friends. We interact with a lot of the manufacturers to try and make things happen for, the community. So to me, a lot of the expo wasn't necessarily getting to see the booths. It was more about hanging out with friends. But that being said, I probably would have never really smoked out of a Prometheus or even tried Headquarters Hookah if it hadn't been for the expo. And, being a mint guy, I really enjoyed their mint. It was really a sleeper mint.
That mint candy was very good. Yes, it was.
It was really good. And I could tell that Basilios had crafted it from Lugero and wrapper cigar leaves just by the undertone of the tobacco notes. And that's something some guys look for and some guys don't.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to try any of that stuff. I missed, there's a lot of vendors I still missed because, like we said before, I just didn't get, like, that whole other side of the floor across from Regal, because I spent so much time at Regal and Phoenix. That other side of the floor where they had all the trifecta and they had all the other pipes going on, I really missed out on that, and that's a big letdown on my part. So,
but you know, as Travis said, it was really great. We even got a group photo, which was kind of cool.
yeah. What about you, Travis? What was your favorite booth, and what was like a booth that you didn't expect to be so good, but it was?
Okay, so my three favorites were the Phoenix booth, because it's always good to get to hang out with my friends, and they did a great job. It was definitely a highlight. Headquarters did a great job. All the girls over there did fantastic, and Basilios and everybody that they brought out. Sherbetli was probably my favorite booth, because I love the fact that they had the whole Sky Hookah distribution lineup as their pipes, and they were smoking amazing. The guys who were packing did a great job.
Yeah.
Azor had an awesome booth. I really loved hanging out with Raphael. I missed that guy. Can't wait for him to come back down to Florida. But that was pretty much, like, you know, I hung out at the Sheikah booth, and I hung out with Omar at Alpaca. Cool.
I gotta say, I was bummed out because when I went to Sherbetli, they were so far, like that whole other side of the whole like floor, especially all the way back there with Sherbetli. I think they got kind of shafted because they had some really good flavors, really good products, and Matt will actually give away a little upcoming news shortly when actually he can give it away when it's his turn. But like, yeah, I love the fact that they had Sky distribution there. I love their flavors. They were really forthcoming with any information, any questions you had. That's one of the things I liked about actually all the vendors. If you had any questions, they would answer it right there in front of your face, and that was really really cool. So Matt, your turn. Favorite booth, and maybe one that shocked you.
My favorite booth, like there's so many of them, obviously. Like I really liked hanging out at the Sheikah booth, meeting so many people there. It was lots of people that I interact with were there, so it was really cool to actually meet Zach in person. It was awesome to meet Christian, hookah chef there. It was great to meet Rob from Dude Where's My Hookah. I've been interacting with him for such a very long time, so like to actually be in the same spot and talk with him was absolutely phenomenal. Meeting Nino for the first time was really cool too and stuff. I mean, there's so many really neat things, especially at the Sheikah booth. Like to see the Mason products there was really cool.
Yeah.
To actually hold a Helix Bowl and the Grand Onyx Bowl and stuff like that, and to see these products that do not translate as well in pictures in person is really cool. Same thing with the Alpaca booth. Like that was really cool about that. And plus everything was for sale there. So I was able to grab myself a really nice bowl and not worry about shipping costs. So that was great. I absolutely loved that.
Oh yeah, we got really nice deals at Alpaca, and he had some really nice the white clay bowls that he was showing off. I'm actually using one right now, and I love it. I like how it's unglazed in the middle. So.
And then, yeah, the Sherbetli was honestly probably my sleeper one. I loved hanging out at the Sherbetli booth because their flavors were so good. Their hookahs were so nice. And then the cool news that we found out from Sherbetli is that Sherbetli is actually coming out with a dark leaf, which I thought was like super cool news that hasn't been talked about, obviously. I've been waiting such a long time to be able to talk about it. So
yeah, same here. I'm glad you're the one who got the pop back cherry.
I finally say something about it, and I was able to throw the joke like, are you going to dye it dark red? And I thought that was a really witty joke on me, and he laughed at it, so it was a good time.
Yeah, sadly we don't have the audio from that, but that was pretty clever when we did the interview with Timur, whose English is actually very good. I think he's very shy about it. I mean, if you can understand Gregory and Dimitri well enough, you got to understand Timur.
I couldn't very well. And Hookah-Fina also, I just want to give a real quick shout out to Hookah-Fina. I've been talking to George for such a very long time, so to meet him in person was absolutely fantastic too. Also, Stefan, loved hanging out with him, and so many other people. You know, it's hard to say names because you'll forget people eventually, and you don't want to do that. But just each booth had their own special thing. Alpaca, I thought, was like really beautiful in their presentation, and it was some of the absolute best Alpaca that I've ever smoked. Everything smoked so good at the Alpaca booth, and I thought that was really nice.
So, are you changing your tune on grape?
Their grape tasted good when they loaded it. It's been a long time since I've ever ordered it.
I am now going to put that audio on loop and send it to Adrian, so now you have a problem with Adrian.
I did not have any ketchup flavor, and that was the best part of the entire thing, probably.
Yeah. There's so many booths I didn't get to try. Stefan has a question here. Or Stefan. I always say Stefan. I don't know why. In my head, I think Stefan is spelled differently. Stefan says, has anyone tried Hooked on Hookah? I personally did not get to try it, which is a bummer on my end. I know one of you guys said before that you did get to try it and you did like the booth. Was that you, Travis? Or was that you, Joe?
Hookah didn't have a booth, but
they didn't have a booth. But they did bring some samples that we gave away at the meetup at the
and Jeremy and I have
Gathering
tried
Oasis.
on hookah.
They're really nice guys. They have a lot of traditional style flavorings, but then they surprise you.
Yeah.
One of their surprises to me was their bubble gum, which surprisingly enough, my wife has smoked probably through the whole 250 right now, and she doesn't normally smoke a lot of hookah with me, which is a pretty cool thing. They have this watermelon mojito mint, which is really good as well.
Okay.
And he wants to get involved with the community more, and I think that's a positive for anybody that that smokes hookah, because if you get an enthusiast that really wants to get involved with the community, they own a brand, they're going to listen to what you have to say. And that's another great segue into what I thought about the expo was really great. Is you get to interact with these people, give them your feedback, and whether they take your feedback or not, you know, it's pretty amazing to interact with them and see a lot of the positive results you come from them.
That's cool. Really quickly, let's take a chance to look over at the chat. Derek Moses, we have Alexa, what's up? Andre Miller, man, what's up, man? How you doing, brother? I know he's like a world traveler now. He's where is he? I forgot where he is. He went somewhere overseas. Fellow Star Wars nerd. Stefan, what's up? How you doing? Caleb, Megan, what's up? And of course, Cameron is lurking with the bacon. I feel like he has a sizzling plate of bacon at all times. Andrew, what's up, buddy? I'll see you in Chicago. We have a bunch of other people in here. How would you guys? Oh, he was just asking, how would you guys feel about later hours instead of starting at 11? I don't know what he's talking about. I guess maybe our time zone difference. Oh, he's in Bali. I wonder if he gets one of those Bali handcrafted hookahs out there. I would love to see some pictures of that if you can. So really quick, I mean, I was able to buy a couple things. Obviously, whenever I'm near Omar, I end up buying all his products. He has this aura around him. When he smiles, he's just like, okay, magically there's another bowl in my hand. I was able also to get my hands on the Phoenix HMD, which I'm very pleasantly surprised with as far as HMDs. Really quick, the Phoenix HMD, for those of you who don't know about it, it is a HMD that you can preheat. It's the only other one on the market besides the Maya Fornello, and I would definitely say that the Phoenix HMD is leaps and bounds better since I own both of them. And I think the airflow with the Phoenix, man, there's something about when you put some coals in it, man, they just stay nice and red the whole time. And that's why a lot of people like taking pictures of it, because it just doesn't blacken out my coals. It looks cool with the Phoenix on fire and stuff. I think it's a cool design. It's very lightweight material that does its job. Is Travis sleeping?
No, I'm here.
You look like you fell asleep. I was about to say, motherfucker. And he fell asleep. Motherfucker had all day. He's gonna fucking trigger me. But, okay, so as I'm talking about the Phoenix, these are things that I was able to get my hands on. Obviously, also the Hookah John Gnarl Hose, which is massive, which is a beating club. I think the cops are going to start carrying it out here to beat people with, because it is just ridiculous in size. So let's start with Matt. Matt, what products did you buy, or are there any products that you wish you would have bought?
I mean, there's tons of stuff that I wish I would have spent more money on, honestly. I wished I would have had the money to buy a Regal, because that would have been the time to do it. Those things are just absolutely beautiful and fantastic. I got myself some Tangiers from House of Hookah, actually. I made a stop over there, but I also got from the Expo itself some Trifecta. I was able to get Indian Cure, because I haven't had that in my life for far too long. Also Enigma, and then Leafy for the very first time from Trifecta, which I've been absolutely loving. I was able to get a sample bag of the peppermint cream from them as well, which has been absolutely fantastic. And then something that hasn't been talked about a whole lot, I was able to get the Baja from the Hookah, or Hookah Fiend, whatever you want to say about them. They're coming out with a dark leaf from Baja. Baja was a brand that was like a few years ago.
Yes.
Blonde leaf.
I believe they even have part of that line is like an aged cured tobacco on two of the packages. I didn't get a chance. I know it was at the Hookah Lounge. The Hookah booth when I was there. I didn't get a chance to ask too many questions because, like, you know, they're just so busy. They're constantly asking questions, and sometimes I feel like I don't want to interrupt their interactions with the consumer just to ask my questions, so I kind of just let them do their thing. That's kind of what happened with the Hookah John booth. If anyone was familiar with the Hookah John booth, it was just so freaking packed.
Lots of
Like you said in your interview with Rob. Rob basically worked the show, and he also basically only got like 5 minutes at the actual booth because it was just so packed. So was there anything that you wish you would have got your hands on?
Oh man, I wanted to get a mouthpiece from Nito. I wanted to get one of the Mason mouth tips. I never got one. They sold out too quickly. I was low on that. I almost got myself a Mason timber hose. Didn't do that either. Like there's lots of stuff, Sheikah hookah and stuff, like things that I finally got to see in person. I was like, man, I definitely want to pick this up, and I didn't get it or anything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty conservative on spending money, obviously.
That's the thing. When you're out in Vegas, I was like, you know what? Let me not buy a Regal for like $800. Art, I'm looking at you because you're crazy. So Travis, the man who looks like he's ready for sleepy time. Tell me what products did you buy, and is there anything you wish you would have got?
I bought absolutely zero.
Well, for the man who has everything, do you really need anything?
No, honestly, no. But what I will say is I spent a lot of time running around with Edith and a couple other people collecting things.
Collecting things? What, like lint and quarters on the floor? Like, can you be more specific?
I wish I would have gotten some more value out of it. No,
that quarters on the floor is not because you're Jewish, just because you're saying collecting things.
You, bro. My horns are starting to grow.
Every day we become more cynical.
We were collecting things for the Hookah University giveaway. So that was my focus, was less on myself, because I kept getting told, come back and pick up some stuff for yourself, and then I never ended up doing it because I was so busy running around booth to booth.
You and Jeremy did a great job on the giveaway collecting and talking to people. I think those giveaway bags were really amazing. I think everyone who got them was really happy.
All the props to everybody who supported us. We couldn't have done it without us.
Yeah, obviously we can't do it without the help of the vendors. We really do appreciate the vendors who were there and who supported us, and even the ones who didn't support us, who couldn't, maybe didn't know about it or whatnot. We still appreciate you guys as well.
I'll throw out some props real quick to a few. There was a few brands that contacted me the night of the giveaway trying to give us stuff, and it was just, we were like, thank you, we appreciate it, we'll get you on the next one. We didn't want any problems, but everybody wanted to participate, and that was really nice.
Yeah. What about you, Germs? What did you buy? What did you wish that you would have bought?
Well, the first thing I did is I went to House of Hookah and I bought another Relix bowl.
All you guys went to fucking House of Hookah without me, and I'm bummed out. I mean, yeah, House of Smokes. House of Smokes. House of Smokes.
House of Smokes.
Too many houses of in this world.
There's a lot of houses.
House of stuff. Debo and Les treat us like family every single time we come into town. I picked up that Relix bowl. I picked up some orange soda for the house. It's a great testament to what this community can do when we stick together. At the Expo, I bought 2 bowls from Omar, and I keep telling myself,
how can you not? Like, he has them all out there. Like, he's like, here, come, look at my wares, check them out. Oh, here, they're in your hand. Like, I felt like it was the Old Spice commercial. I would look at Omar, I would look to the right, it would be an alpaca. I look down, I have a bowl. I look back at Omar, he has 2 more bowls. Then all of a sudden I look down, they're in my hand. I'm like, what is happening? This is magic.
They're loaded with crack. Please try some.
Yeah. So
you got to buy 100 bowls in the collection so far, and I'm getting to the point to where it's taking over too much space above my in my kitchen, and my wife is looking at me right now doing this. So much space all over the house.
Soon you can have the bowls like holding up the tables and the furniture.
I'm already at that point.
It's like, if you know me, every time I go somewhere, I grab 3 or 4 bowls out of my collection. I say, here, you can have this. I've smoked out of it. You can have this. I've smoked out of it. You can have this, and I've smoked out of it.
Yes,
Jeremy I have too many damn bowls.
He has a lot of bowls.
But it's just an addiction. It's a bowl thing for me. I don't know why.
What did you want to buy that maybe, like, you thought, maybe, okay, I can't afford it right now, or, like, I don't want to spend the money right now? Because I was personally looking at those Regals. With the Diamond Wood, I mean, they're really nice. They had a limited amount there, and I think they sold out the first day on Saturday.
If I had $1,000 to spend, I would have bought one of those right away.
Yeah.
George came in with some amazing pipes.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of what he's doing right now and the quality just by looking, touching, and feeling them are miles above what he was doing 12 months ago. I give big props to George because George takes so much shit in this community from me, but then he just listens and he's like, fuck you, I'm going to do it better.
I have a question here from Camran Zanman. How do you say his fucking? I don't know. Bacon. Did he receive anything from anyone? I think that's directed at you, Travis. You were just showing off a hose. Can we see that again?
Yeah. I'll give Bacon what he wants.
Now I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm guessing he's letting us talk about this a little bit.
Resin Kings.
I mean, these hoses were on full display at the Phoenix HMD booth, and they actually it's one of the things you really notice besides the Phoenix on top, that you look down and you're examining what you're smoking out of, and you're looking at these hoses. You're like, where the fuck did these hoses come from? What are these? I'm so confused, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I would like to have Cameron and Wayne on to have them talk more about this product. But I will say that they are very beautiful to look at. You can definitely tell that they're handcrafted. They're made with a lot of love, and they're very eye-catching too.
They did a great job. It was really
First of
fun.
all, it's something that, you know, an enthusiast like hookah so much they came out with their own product.
It's funny. It's like it's always weird when like someone's like, you know what, I like this hobby. What I want isn't necessarily out there in the way I want it, and then you go out and you create it. That's a lot of dedication and hard work. Just to get off that topic, because I don't want to spoil whatever he wants to talk about in his live, but I will talk about this. You guys touched a little bit on before. Seeing more vendors, like they definitely have a lot of space to grow, which is good. You're always looking towards the future and thinking, okay, how can this get bigger and better, and who else can come in here? I would definitely like to see in the Expo next year, I would like to see a Heaven Leaf booth, and I would like to see some kind of area where it's more like craft manufacturers, where like people who are smaller vendors don't have necessarily the capital to raise to buy a booth themselves, because either they don't have the product, as much product, or they don't have, you know, just the overall time and money to spend into an initial booth. That maybe a lot of smaller vendors can come together and work together in like an area. It could be called like, you know, like I don't know, they can name it like craft vendors or something like that, like a section where you can go and you can see all these like individuals making products for the hookah community. And I think it would be a chance to have everyone else be more included, you know, not just be like, hey, we're not just parading around the big guys and the people who have money to shell out the money to be here at these booths, but we also want to, you know, take the smaller brands and the people who are just starting out and making a product that, you know, this is pretty cool. People need to have eyes on it. The Expo should be a showcase, like Matt says in his podcast. It should be a destination where people are like, you know what, I'm gonna hold off on presenting this product because I want to present it at the Expo, just like they do, like Matt said before, at E3, like video games, or like, you know, like how like at the Expos for the electronics, they unveil this main thing because they want everyone to be wowed by it. I would like to see Heaven Leaf. I would like to see companies like Moses Hoses, Mason, Stoneball, and I would definitely love to see the Relics, not the Relix Bowl, make a presence more than he did this year, because I think these are companies that are and individuals that definitely need to be basically spotlighted more. You know, because I think the Expo shouldn't be necessarily about, oh, I'm trying to push all my product. It should be more about the community, and what better way to do that in the community than to push these smaller craft manufacturers. What do you guys take on it? Let's start with Jeremy. What vendors would you like to see next year, or manufacturers, and how do you think they could do something like this? Yo, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I said, well, as anybody knows me, I'm a big fan of these things. They're on every single one of my hookahs.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Derek out there. I'd love to see an actual booth from Stone. I'd like to see some of the Russian stuff that we have in market actually have a booth to where we could purchase things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think some type of market setup would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, small, like little maybe half booths
Yeah.
or quarter booths.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I've been drinking wine, so I got the hiccups. But, you know, for anybody that wants to bring a product to market, really, and has the enthusiast mindset, the bespoke one-off pieces, stuff like Wayne and Cam are doing, Derek, a little more spotlight for Mason. Nino does some really bespoke pieces, and a lot of the stuff that he builds and Stone Bowls build, and a lot of the other guys that really don't involve or associate with the community in some sense. But the more specialty pieces, I'd love to see more of that.
It also opens up a market where people, well, if we spotlight this stuff in the United States and we support the smaller vendors, not only does it grow our own U.S. market for products just as this, because you never know, maybe you're making a product today and your product inspires someone tomorrow to make something, you know, that's the next generation, and we constantly grow and evolve. But overseas, they're going to be looking at our expos as we grow bigger, and they're going to be like, you know what? Like, that's really cool. That manufacturer that was there, they have something that we don't have here, which is either going to have someone else create something that's like yours, or they're going to want to buy it from you, and you're going to get more business that way. Travis, what about you? Who would you like to see there, and how do you think it can be accomplished?
So I mean, like most of the guys you guys are talking about, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I hope it doesn't get me too much heat from you guys.
Well, you get enough heat as it is, so go ahead, Lightning Rod.
I was about to say lightning rod. I disagree. I disagree on the.
Okay, where's the disconnect button? We don't take that. We don't take kindly to disagreeing on here. No, go ahead.
Banhammer me. I disagree for the simple fact that I look at the Expo as a logistical nightmare as it is. It's expensive. There's a lot of financial investment, a lot of financial risk, and probably little reward other than doing good for the community at this point.
Well, do you feel that with this Expo they solidified their spot, that this is something that's definitely going to be around for the next 5 years at least, regardless of the economic loss?
Honestly, I take every year as it comes, because it all depends, and I said this to a few different people at the Expo, it all depends on people, companies, especially the bigger ones that are putting more money in to keep doing it. You know, you can't do $500 to $1,000 booths and cover costs. That's just the fact. And there wasn't supposed to be booth sharing at this Expo because of that, and there was anyway. People did it anyway. I mean, I'm happy because I got to see a lot of shit I wanted to see anyway. But looking at it from the flip side, it's a logistical nightmare, especially running out of places as big as this Las Vegas Convention Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people need to understand that when they see that certain people can't afford to go. Well, you can't pay, you can't play. And as much as I would like to see more of the craft vendors myself.
Okay, I understand that. So the devil's favorite advocate has stopped talking. But yeah, I understand from John and Jake had their hands full just getting this Expo off the ground. But do you think that since Jake already posted kind of graphics for next year, do you think that it was immediate success?
Oh, I know it's happening again. Yeah. No, I think they have 2 years already locked down. But I'm just saying it always depends on year after year. Do the same big vendors come back, or do they not come back? And that's something we have to look at more so than focusing on smaller. They're really the backbone of the show to a certain extent financially.
I gotcha. I understand that. So Matt, your take on it. Any company you would like to see in particular, and how do you think it's are they able to accomplish said task maybe in the years coming up?
Well, I was actually going to say, kind of playing devil's advocate in a way. I wanted to see like actual vendors show things like Hookah Heroes or 5-Star Hookah and have a booth of some kind.
Do you feel that will muddle things down when you have vendors all repping the same brand, because there are brands that are very popular?
And after I thought about it a little bit longer, the bigger idea that I'd like to see is I'd like to see every booth actually selling stuff. Not all the booths were actually selling all their product. For instance, Azure was not actually selling there. There are certain booths that were not selling products, so I want to see everything available for purchase. I think that's the important part of it.
There's a reason. There's a reason for that, and that goes into the original question that we just asked, or you were addressing, is vendors.
Yeah.
These guys are manufacturers. They're not supposed to sell direct to you. That's why I thought the Regal booth was awesome, but it also showed you how cheap you can get their pipe for when you bought it direct.
That's what an expo, a convention is a place that you can go and purchase things, especially as a consumer expo.
Yes, but at the same time, you have all the vendors there, and if Azor is selling their product direct to consumer, first of all, you have to look at the tax laws in that, the logistics of that.
Well, it's funny he mentions the tax laws because at the hookah fair, Fumari didn't sell at all. They had their full setup, but this time they did sell. And I completely understand. It's very easy for us to say, oh, we want this, this, and this, but it's very hard to do that. Also, with the overhead of the cost of actually shipping everything out there, it's not cheap to get all your items and everything out there, which I understand. But if you go into it like this year, I think a lot of people saw that people are willing to spend that $1 to get a deal on, especially shisha tobacco. Do you think that?
I think that's a little bit easier, though, is the tobacco aspect. I think the harder one is that somebody mentioned that they wanted to see, like, Russian pipes for sale. Well, imagine getting those Russian pipes not only shipped over from Russia to Chicago and then shipped out to Vegas, and you're not guaranteed anything, and you're probably going to be selling it cheaper, so your markup is probably going to be affected because you've already taken that cost. I think money. I'm a business guy.
Yeah, but I think you're looking at the money a little bit too stale, because the fact is, when you bring in new customers at any sort of introductory price, then you're willing to capture them later at a more expensive price.
I think we're
but
also,
when you're a wholesaler and you're selling to retailers,
we're missing the point that it is advertising. You're advertising also your product, which you can't put a price point in the hookah community because we are not allowed to advertise said products on print or media or anything like that. So I mean, the fact that you're willing to ship all this stuff over there to get eyes on your product, to get people talking about it, to get that buzz out there is invaluable. And I think this year that a lot of the vendors went out there, and even if they weren't selling, they realized, oh shit, people want to buy our product. So next year, maybe it's worth the effort to get our product out here because we want to get it in more people's hands. And there's nothing like getting the product in your hand and talking directly to the manufacturer to get the insight and the info you need on said product. There's a difference.
It just goes back to, I'll use Sky Hookah Distribution as an example, just for the simple fact, you bring out all these things, it has costs. And it's not about, I don't think that, honestly, I look at it differently as a person in the communities that's been around for a while. I don't really think the eyes needed to be on that pair. Or, DSH hasn't come in yet. It's coming in, I think, in the next few days. But it's like, people know what Matt Pear is. People know what Regal is. It's yes, it's cool to see, but is it logistically a good, sound business decision? Especially when, say I don't know what Sky Hookah gets in as far as how many pieces they get in per order, but say you get 50 pieces in. That's a decent chunk of change right there. Mm-hmm. You have to make money on that 50 pieces, or you're not getting another 50 pieces.
Yeah. You think people are willing to take the loss one time a year at an expo? It
depends on your revenue.
To move the product forward?
If they're losing too much money off of a 2-day expo type sale that they're doing, then they're also having larger problems than even a regular sale is going to be able to fix for them.
Yeah.
This is not a week-long event, even if it turned into 3 or 4 days. It is not a revenue stream that anybody should be looking at to break even of any kind. The whole idea of this is just a special event, and that's
why there's not smaller vendors there, because they're not going to make back there.
All right, so this is super interesting. Let's get back to some things that I want to talk about. We got to actually also smoke Alpha Comma's dark line of tobacco.
That wasn't your first time.
No, I was privy to checking it out beforehand. I gotta say, the Fallen Dragon is great. I love Alpha Comma's passion fruit, and when they take that style and that flavor profile and they blend it into a more darker leaf, I think it's really strong. It hits my taste buds perfectly. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on it. It might be a little bit too much on the other spectrum, especially when you're used to smoking a certain line from Alpha Comma, and then you try the Alpha Comma Dark. which is called the Midnight line, it might actually, like, you might be a little bit thrown off the first time you smoke it, but I definitely think it's a product that is definitely worth checking out for all those who haven't tried it or don't even know it exists. Have you guys tried the Alpha Comma Dark line? The Midnight
Yes.
line, sorry.
Yes.
Yes. We tried in Chicago.
And what are your thoughts about it?
It was heavy.
The Midnight line, the Fallen Dragon I smoked in Chicago, literally knocked me out of my chair.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm a regular dark leaf smoker. Not to say that you shouldn't try it. It has excellent flavorings, and I think that the one that he had at the Expo was much, much better.
Mm-hmm.
I
I also think that, like, you know, all the feedback he got from all of us, the time we had to test it, I think they really took that to heart when maybe going forward.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I wanted to give a little bit of props on, is that Alpha Comma is one of the companies that loves the enthusiasts. They talk about us. They talk to us. Badia, you reach out to him. He'll give you any advice you want.
Yeah.
Hey, Mac, can you say that name real quick?
Yeah, Badia.
Okay, there we go. Okay, go ahead, Jeremy.
Thank you, Chris. Back to actual conversation now. No, but I think the differences between the Chicago and the latest Expo when he released it, he's done a fantastic job of tooling that flavor in and fine-tuning it in. The meticulous mint was fantastic, and I'm a mint smoker. I think it's really good. It definitely is a line to where if you don't like tobacco notes, then it's not for you, because it does have the tobacco notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, speaking of, like, something that was really strong, I know Frank Simmons is lurking around in here doing his rounds. I don't know
Frank,
if we
it's so nice to meet you.
I don't know if we could talk about what we had in that bowl, but holy shit.
Well, I found some dark leaf from Russia called Dark Side that fell off the back of a Russian truck.
Yeah.
And I did a grenade pack on it using 4 coals inside of the octopus from Sky Hookah. And it literally made 90% of us fall over, because if you haven't smoked that mint yet, you can thank yourself for that.
It really goes from here all the way
You
down.
feel it in your ears, behind your ears, in your throat, and even when you're not smoking it, you're still smoking it. Like,
Yeah.
I was very surprised. Like, I didn't want to take any breaths after I already took a pull from it, because it was so strong. Like, I was just like, it hurts everywhere. Make it stop, Papa Jeremy.
Well, I'll tell you that somebody expunged some fluids because of that session.
Oh man, it was really strong, and Frank will definitely attest to that. Yeah. So I think we're all on board with the Midnight line from Alpha Comma. I think it's something definitely to check out. And we're patiently awaiting Sir Bentley's Dark Leaf to come out. We don't have no clue. We don't have a timetable on it, but the fact that he did announce it there, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, any closing statements about the Expo itself? I mean, there's a lot of cool vendors. I didn't even get to see everything. You know, there's so much I still wanted to see. Man, I just wish I can go back. I wish that I can go back and do it all over again. It was a fun weekend, but of course, the weekend's only going to be as fun as the company, as good as the company is that you keep. And if you keep like a solid group of people around you, it's just going to enhance the time you had out there. And anything else about the Expo that you guys can talk about? I think we touched on everything for the most part.
Personally,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for me personally, what I wanted to say is, like, my biggest takeaway from this entire thing is the fact that, like, as much as Jeremy and Travis are amazing admins to the entire hookah community, like, Jeremy is not hookah, Travis is not hookah, Chris is not hookah, I am not hookah, but we as a community are hookah. And that was my biggest takeaway from this entire thing. Like, this expo is not possible without enough enthusiasts and people that are interested in this hobby. And something that I absolutely love and just enjoyed so much about it was this meeting place that we all got to be together and hang out with one another. Like, it was absolutely fantastic to, like, literally spend time smoking, passing the hose amongst one another. Like, that was the exciting part of it. Like, this community, when it's operating at 100% and is doing what it needs to be doing when it comes to us as fans and as friends and as everything a part of it, like, to me, that is like you said, I have 4 girls, I have a wife, Jeremy has a family. Like, there's so many more other things in this life that matters. Yeah. But this was a wonderful experience, and the time that I got to spend hanging out after at the frat party with Jeremy and Travis were some of the most fun that I had. And to be able to spend time and talk with you guys, like, nothing can replace that. Like, this community, what we are, is what made this whole thing special to me. And that's why I want to go and make sure to support any and every time that I possibly can, because it was a blast. It was fantastic.
Yeah, let's not forget Tam and his giant bottle of whiskey or whatever.
Oh my gosh, that guy was a blast to hang out with. I don't ever want to get him too drunk that he doesn't recognize me, but it was a blast to hang out with him while he
Yeah. Backwards hugs were in full swing during the expo.
Oh my god, I felt so violated in the best way possible.
Yeah, I was crying in the corner after the hour I spent with him.
Yeah,
he tried to pick me up, but he failed. He tried to pick me up, but he failed.
Yeah, so I think the expo was a success. We would love to see more people from the community out there next year. We love interacting with everyone. It's a great time. Now, moving forward, I think we're done with the expo. The expo is old news now. As much as we love talking about it and talk about the times we had there, we are moving towards, very fastly, we're at a running pace towards Chicago. Now, Chicago is not a new thing. We were there earlier this year. We had a blast. I think thanks to Nino for having the space for us to use to really bring the community together, and all the vendors who come out there and support and get to meet the people firsthand. For people who don't know what the Chicago meetup is, Travis, can you explain it a little bit?
Sure. It was started by Nino from Mason to kind of just get like Chicago smokers together, and it kind of blossomed out of that, with people wanting to go out. I know, like you just said, we flew out earlier and promoted it pretty heavily. We got to hang out with a lot of our friends out there, and we're looking forward to doing it again. It was great because it was very similar to what we did at Hookah Expo Worldwide and what we did at TPE, where Jeremy and I really focused on getting people together outside of the official event. Because like the official event is great, but it's limited in scope.
Yeah.
And you don't get to talk to everybody. You're sitting in chairs. You don't get to mingle as much and that's why we like throwing the Airbnb parties, the frat parties, because you get to come in and chill out and have a drink, smoke, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it encompasses maybe some of the best of the expo? Because some of the best times I had at the expo weren't necessarily at the expo. They were with the company I kept, either after the expo, winding down, hanging out, talking about the expo with said people. I feel like it's kind of strip away the expo, and that's what the meetup is. And I think that's what's something that is more important than the actual meetup at some, like being an enthusiast, and this being my hobby, is like you can connect with people at the expo, but going to like someplace after where you're not in such a formal setting, even though it's really not a formal setting, it's an expo, you walk around, you go to booth to booth, but
it's the only reason why I go to these, to be completely honest with you. As much as I love the expo and what it stands for and what it accomplishes, I would not just go back out if all I was able to do is walk through the door and then walk out and wouldn't see anybody again.
Yeah.
What draws me out to these things is hanging out with everybody outside of the official capacity. So for me, that's why I spent the money. And that's why I'm going back out to Chicago to do the same thing over again.
Exactly. Really quickly, not to get off topic, but Jewel is asking what vendors might be in Chicago.
So you
to be determined.
Distribution. Well, we can go with the usual suspects. How about that? Karma, Superior Cocoa, Sky Hookah Distribution, obviously Mason.
I think Moose will be there.
Yeah, Trifecta, Sheikah. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but that's
Jim from Ugly.
Oh, Jim. Yeah, Jim from Ugly.
And anyone who's watching who hasn't been to one of these, this is like, the vendors do this, they don't sell anything there. They don't go and peddle stuff. I mean, there's no there's no booth set up there for you to like go.
Mason products are for sale.
Well, I mean, he is throwing kind of the shindig, so
Well,
that's
I'm
a
just saying,
taken.
there are products.
But there are products, but it's not like a expo type capacity. These vendors are coming out on their own dime to meet you guys, to interact with you. This is basically a more enthusiast type setup. That's what I like about it. It's more low key. It's more like person to person. Matt, are you gonna be going to Chicago or no?
I wish I could. It's the week before my wife and oldest daughter are going to be flying out to New York, actually, so I will not be in Chicago.
So it's funny with Matt because Matt and Adrian are never in the same place at the same time, and I'm gonna call like that. They might be the same person, just with maybe a CGI overlay and a different.
Well, I think I'm gonna call Bridget through Messenger and ask for a permission slip for Matt to come out for Hall Pass.
I'll sign the Hall Pass.
Don't think I'm this time, but hopefully in the future. Hopefully in the future I will be able to.
But so Adrian Hunter will be at the Chicago meetup, so AM Hookah Podcast will be represented. Well, there are some new people going out there as well from various communities that will be out there. I think it's going to be definitely bigger than earlier this year. Do you have any reservations on it getting too big in the current venue?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It was too big last time.
If you go back and watch my video from earlier this year on the Chicago meetup, it was packed.
There was no room to walk.
There needs to be a change in venue.
That, and I think airflow was becoming an issue, even though they have very high ceilings. But yeah, this will be an indicator to see if maybe we might need to move things. We might need to force Nino's hand to move things.
I think that the last one was enough of a proof of that. But here's the thing, and if you look back on previous meetups, some meetups get less than 10 people. Some get a lot, like the ones we try and help promote and push and get people out to. They get more. So it really depends on who's really pushing behind, also helping. But
he's also changed the format a little bit.
Yeah.
He's also changed the format a little bit. It used to be every month. Now it's, quarterly or twice a year as of this year. Chicago to me is really a place for us to get together as enthusiasts.
Have some beers
outside, have some beers,
have some pizza,
order 10 pizzas to the house, and enjoy the company. Just want to give like a huge shout out to everybody at the frat house, Steven, Sandra, Charles, Frank the Tank, Jewel and her husband, Edith, Basilios even me to stop by the last night. So to me, these events are really about trying to bring the community together as a whole. Doesn't matter where you came from, what associates you have. It just matters that you're under the same roof. You can enjoy a hookah together, and you can talk as friends and talk about a subject you really love together.
Yeah, I had a question on the whole thing. Even though meetups are happening more frequently, we have the Expo in full swing, in full force. So you have the Expo, which is basically the premier event to go to somewhere in the middle of the year. I think that's without a doubt. But the meetups, do you feel if we do, like, meetups can move anywhere. You don't need to do a big meetup. A meetup can just be in your hometown. You don't need to advertise it. Just get the people within the community together that live local to you and do a meetup there. Like, you can do it at your house. Just put out some chips and some drinks, and people will come and smoke, and you can have your own little meetup. You don't need to necessarily attend Chicago to get the same experience. You can do it in your hometown, and I'm calling on the people in the community to do so, to make sure they keep their community of hookah smokers together. And it's a good way to keep in touch and stuff like that and meet people, because I know some people don't have necessarily people who smoke hookah in their circle of friends. So it's always good to reach out. Don't be a stranger. Reach out to people that live close to you or within your state. Matthew, I'm going to butcher your last name, Brandenburg?
Brandenburg.
He says, Chris, NY meetup, do it. I think I will have a stroke if I try to go into that realm of trying to get a meetup in New York. This, like Travis said, logistics is a very big part of these things. Finding a venue is only the first step. Then you gotta organize other things for people coming in. and stuff like that. It's not an easy task to do. As much as I think a New York meetup would be cool, because a lot of people do want to go to New York as a destination, but it's very hard with the strict laws here to find a place for us to smoke and get as many people as we would like to. I would like to see other meetups, but on that same token, there is a such thing, I feel, as a meetup fatigue, where you have too many of these. You want to keep them kind of, I guess, exclusive to certain times of the year. So if you say it's like the first 3 months of the year, maybe there's a meetup, you can't make it there. Maybe hey, well, I know there's a meetup on the schedule 5-6 months from now, excluding the expo, and you could still make it out there, because timing, you could have the time off, but maybe you don't have the money. You can have the money, maybe you don't have the time off. Maybe you have 900 children. Maybe you just can't find the time. So there's a lot of factors that go into it that can keep us from going to these meetups. And I think doing too many meetups, like Cam said he wanted to do one in LA, that would be cool. But obviously we wouldn't be able to do Chicago twice a year. I think Chicago would be really good if it's just one time a year. Give the people options so maybe they can drive, maybe they live closer, they can do that one. And then they can do one in LA, and maybe people closer to LA on the West Coast can go to that one. It's all up to you guys in the community. Like, everything that is done here is community based. It's all about taking the concept and putting it into action. Any one of you guys can start one. Start a group, start talking, start planning it out. You don't need us to have a meetup. We would like to see more members within the community to take action, to bring it upon themselves, to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like, I want to hang out with people. I want to meet people. Let's do this. Let's make a meetup. But be wary that just because people don't come to a certain meetup doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of issues that go into it. So Travis agreed on the whole fatigue of, too many meetups. Also, you gotta think this stuff drains your wallet. Matt, what do you think about this? And then we'll go to Jeremy.
Yeah, I think that meetup fatigue, expo fatigue, could definitely be a thing. I don't think we're quite at that level yet. Personally, maybe I'm being selfish, and that's just how I'm kind of looking at this and stuff. Like, I'm the type of enthusiast that really wants to participate as much as possible, and I know many people are. I'm not trying to say that people want to do this or anything like that. Brandon George is actually only about 3 hours away from me in Salt Lake City in Utah. So I would love to try and figure out a way to do like some sort of like Utah meetup. I think that would be really cool if it would be possible. I think the bigger thing when it comes to like meetup fatigue and stuff like that is the expectation, like you guys were all saying about like maybe only 10 people show up. Have your expectations set to a realistic goal of what you're actually trying to accomplish by having a meetup. Because to me, a meetup in Utah would literally mean I want 5 people to smoke with. I want to go and sit down with Brandon George, talk to him about his Stone Bowls. I want to meet a couple other people that are in the area, slightly local and stuff like that, and enjoy each other's company. It's kind of the same thing we all do, right? Like, I'm not alone in this. Like, I have lots of friends that come over and smoke with me. It's kind of just trying to do that on a little bit larger of a scale, I feel. But I do understand the idea of meetup fatigue and things like that, and expo fatigue. I don't know if we could have, as much as I would want to have like 4 expos a year, like obviously that would be not possible. It'd be really not a good idea. But I think that we have the ability in our community, especially because of how spread out we are, that is a possibility as long as the expectations are understood that like, hey, you don't have to go to every single meetup. Hey, you don't have to go to every single one of these things that are happening. When there's only a couple, I feel like there's a need to do that. Like you were saying, if you know there's something around the corner, you don't have to worry about it as much, obviously.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people like are bummed out that they couldn't make the expo, and they're kind of down on it. And then we announced that, hey, the Chicago meetup's a thing, and I know a lot of there's a handful of people already that I know that didn't go to the expo that are like, oh, I'm definitely going to Chicago. Like, so they're looking forward. So the fact that there is something happening, these, like, the people who missed out are very excited and very happy. They have that buzz that we had just before the expo to go to this Chicago meetup, and this is their expo. This is their chance to meet the people in the community and really like shake hands and interact with people. So I think it's good that we have things like this in different cities and stuff. Wait, Jerm, you're muted, buddy.
I'll put Matt on the spot real quick. You hold a meeting in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'll fly out from St. Louis to go smoke with you and Brandon Jesse and Colton from Ruthless.
Now the pressure's on. Now the pressure is on. I really do want to. I want to talk to Brandon and York to see if it's possible, because I think that'd be really cool. There are people on this side that either didn't go to Vegas, can't go to Chicago and stuff. I think it'd be fun because, like I said, I just want 5 people to smoke with that are enthusiasts like me. I think it'd be cool.
I'm out.
I would not expect you to come all the way from St. Louis and stuff, but it would be cool.
I flew from California to Chicago last time, so.
Really quick, guys. We are open to questions. We're coming down to the end here. I know Travis wants to go to sleep. He's tired. Baby's tired. He needs his nap.
Take my beauty rest, bitch.
You had a long day. You had a very long day. A lot of text messages. So, let's open it up to people who have questions. Jack, nice to see you in here, buddy. I think he's going at Art a little bit playfully. Caleb is saying, I'll go to Utah for a hangout.
I know.
You know what? I think eventually, maybe not this year, maybe sometime next year, we start getting like a schedule together where we can put a schedule together where there are different meetups in different cities. They don't all have to be the same size. They don't all have to do the same thing. But like people know ahead of time. Oh man, cool, I can plan ahead for this coming up. And we can make like a schedule, like a layout of all the different meetups in all the different states or cities. Obviously, I only want people who are willing to actually make this a reality to contact me on said things, because I don't want you to get people's hopes up and then it not materialize. This is why I don't talk about the New York City meetup.
I've seen that happen a few times this year already.
Yeah,
where there's meetups and they're canceled the day of.
I would definitely like to see people really follow through on this and really like Cam, man, you have it within your power to try to do something in LA. It doesn't need to be big. Maybe just like, you know, a weekend out there. I've never been to LA. I would love to fly out there. You know, none of us here are beyond traveling. We show that. Jeremy and Travis especially, they are willing to travel anywhere. Like Jeremy will go and meet a Russian spy if he has to get some hookah overseas.
Well, I'll tell you that it's in the planning right now. Big ups to Brandon trying to organize this. It's an insane mess, but we are trying to make it out to St. Petersburg next year in March for the Hookah Club show, which should be an amazing time. However, it's all dependent upon if we can get all the paperwork organized.
Oh, really quick, I wanted to do a quick shout out because I know Narek isn't here, so he is going to be, I guess, at the Chicago meetup. I'm not 100% if that's confirmed, but guys, if you have not tried Heavenly, please check it out. You can head over to their website, check out all the flavors. If you need a good starting flavor and you don't know where to start, please check out that peppermint. I can't speak enough about it. It's funny. Here, I will give you a little test to do with your friends who smoke just tobacco. Buy some peppermint from Heaven Leaf, put it in their bowl, and watch their reaction. Don't tell them it's not a tobacco-based product, and let them smoke it. Let them go through the whole bowl, and then be like, "Oh, did you like that?" And when they start asking you questions, then lay it on them and be like, "Well, this is this brand." I want to hear stories about people. Let's do a Heaven Leaf surprise challenge, where people just surprise their friends by putting Heaven Leaf in the bowl, and I want to see people's reactions, and let me know what you think, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with their product. And if you're not, I don't want to talk to you. No, it's gonna be very great. I from firsthand experience, I've tried a lot of the different flavors. I am a very big
Bring back
advocate.
pistachio.
Pistachio.
Melon is an amazing flavor from Heavenly. That thing is a great mixer. That stuff's amazing.
Yeah, I really like that product. So we'll continue to take some questions here. I got one pinned here from Tony. Before we wrap up, I know it's getting pretty late. I got to work 24 hours tomorrow. Who is someone in the community you didn't get to see that was at the Expo? Wait, what? Who is someone in the community you didn't get to see that was at the Expo or didn't get much time to talk to? There are some. I have seen people at the Expo, like through like social media and pictures that I didn't necessarily meet at the Expo, and I was like, oh crap, this person was there. I had no clue. No one really off the top of my head. I mean, I got to meet J-Rock. I got to meet Dominic. There was some cool people who like just came up to me, and I feel bad if like you come up to me and you say, "Hey, Dr. Noob Sauce," and I don't immediately know who you are. You got to realize there's a lot of people we talk to throughout the day and stuff like that, so it does necessarily happen. I know it's also happened to Matt, where you're like, I forgot your name, but I know your face. I'm so sorry. You know, it's not that we don't care. We do care.
Well, I wish I would have got to spend a little more time with hashtag CGI. Douglas Terrell.
Doug disappeared a lot.
Ming is in the house right now. Yes, it was a great. I hung out with Doug a ton. I had an entire evening with him. Him and his cousin were absolute fantastic people to hang out with. It was a blast, honestly.
Yeah.
I wished I would have hung out more. I wish I would have gone and talked to Jim from Ugly Hookah Tobacco. I did not get to see him at all, sadly. I wish I would have spent more time talking with Raphael from the store. I wish I would have spent more time talking with George and Stefan.
You know, it's funny because you mentioned Jim. I've been in the same place as Jim like 3 times already, and I've yet to talk to him. I've yet to have a conversation with him. It's just weird how things like work out like that. Travis, what about you?
I'd say probably, you know, who there was the Hookah Banner boys I didn't get to hang out as much with as I wanted to, but it was really nice seeing Kermie and Nader and, you know, everybody over there. But I'm trying to think, there's somebody. Oh, I'm smoking out of my Naros tonight. I didn't even get to see Christian Agosti because I got to the Hookah John booth 0 times other than to pick up product.
Yeah, the booth. You know what? Like,
I
think
booth needed to be bigger.
I think Matt touched on something in the AM Hookah podcast that was pretty cool. He did say that John didn't have the biggest booth. He wasn't the flashiest booth there. He didn't try to take attention from anyone. He just had his products up, a couple hookahs out, because, you know, he was doing a lot of the rounds. And I mean, that says a lot. I think when you put on an expo, you obviously want to be the most well-represented brand there. But he let the other brands really pick. I think for the most part, at least in my perspective, like he let the other brands really shine. And I think that was pretty cool. I mean, that's just what I'm taking away from his booth being like in the corner there. When you first enter, you do see the Hookah John booth right away. You're always seeing people taking pictures with John and Jake. Like Jake, I didn't see sit down once. Jake kind of just kept walking around. I feel so bad for him because whenever he was never walking alone. Like, John was never walking alone. None of these guys were ever by themselves. They were always constantly being mobbed like celebrities, like they were Rolling Stone the whole time. But
you know who I wish I got more time with? Fletcher. I really wish I got more time with him.
That beautiful ginger bearded bastard.
Fletcher will be the first one to point out that he was in full work mode while he was there. I'm just going to go off camera here and fix my calls. Talk among yourself, children.
Oh, yeah. What's the new topic?
I had a blast hanging out with Art, honestly. I got to spend a good amount of time with him and his woman, and they were fantastic people. We had a very good conversation about, like, some of the quote-unquote, like, serious stuff about the expo and just, like, the enjoyable time about being there and stuff. So,
right.
Like, that was...
Isn't Art's girlfriend so much nicer than he is? Like, how did he...
Oh, my God.
I feel like how, I don't know, Art, I don't know how you got to unchain her from your hip and let her be free. Because she is way too nice for you.
Yeah, they both appearance in the AM Hookah podcast that we did from the expo, from the resort room that we were at and stuff. And she was so cool. And honestly, also for me, Caleb and James, I only got to like see them. I didn't get to really interact with them. They were off doing their own thing and stuff, and they were a ton of fun to talk to as well. But man, it was. I saw a lot of people. There's always more time that can be spent hanging out with more people. I wish I would have saw more of the hookah battle. That's something that I wished I would have done myself and went and enjoyed more of.
Yeah, my only gripe with the hookah battle, they need to fix the placement. It being all the way in the corner like that definitely took eyes off the event. If they moved over,
way too long.
Yeah,
way too long. I walked away. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they definitely. I think that like it is nice to see the judges' reactions on the battle as it's taking place and stuff like that. But yeah, it's way too long. But it's kind of a grind too. But I mean, we talked about the expo. We plugged in a little bit of the Chicago meetup. We hope to meet a lot of people out there. We're looking forward to it. Unfortunately, Matt won't be there, but Adrian will be. Well, don't be afraid to come up to any of us here, and if you see us at the Chicago meetup, and you know, be like, yo, let's get that beer, you know, let's
hang out.
Let's hang out. Let's, you know, don't be afraid. Don't be like too like put off. You know, everyone here is pretty nice. For
And
the
if you
most
got your
part.
IDs, wear them.
Oh yeah, if you do have your IDs, please bring them to Chicago. Those are pretty cool. Mine's still attached to my bag right now. Oh, I think that's where my mouthpiece is.
By the way, Jeremy, my wife loves her name badge. She says that she feels a real big
That was
pressure.
that guy. That was
I
that
was
guy.
saying, I'm like, what the
That
hell
was
is he gonna do
Travis.
with it? That was me for fucking 3 days.
Travis,
I was saying Desind. I'm gonna say Desind from now on for that.
sorry. But my wife absolutely does love it. We feel bad that we haven't taken a picture and posted it, but she says that she feels a little bit intimidated that it says professor on it. She feels like she should probably just be a student. And I told her, I said, yeah, that's how I felt when I first saw your professor badge, and I had to work my way up to become a professor.
I'll tell you the same thing I tell everything, Desind. That's what the beautiful thing about me being able to just give out titles however I damn well please.
Yeah, I can
You
definitely
don't
say
like it? Fuck you, I'm the dean.
my girlfriend was very happy having an ID, and everyone did a very nice job. So she said everyone was very nice.
Susie's a professor as well.
Don't
the partners
also
get
guys
the
don't feel like you can't bring your significant other. I was a little worried because I know all the craziness that happened in Chicago, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't know how my girlfriend's gonna handle it, but she surprisingly just jumped in and started making fun of people, and it was great.
We were very well behaved.
That's because we're all family, and everybody's family. If you're with somebody, you're family. You show up for the first time to a Hookah University thing, you're family. Don't matter who you are. Don't matter if I don't even know your name. Introduce yourself. You're one of us. Hang out with us.
Exactly. I would like to thank all the people who were in the chat. Thank you guys for sticking around. I know it was pretty long. Classroom. I'm going to try to put some more stuff in the future so you guys have little things to fall asleep to or watch on your long road trips or whatever it is. Oh, Susie just waved. She was in here. She's lurking. She didn't say one comment, and all she did was wave. So
Susie Q.
Hi, Susie.
And yeah, so and then I forgot my train of thought because I forgot my girlfriend was watching me.
Yeah, well, now we're all thinking about Susie. So, Susie, it was amazing having you.
Yes.
Can't wait to see you again.
I would like to thank everyone in the chat. Art, thank you for trolling and being here. Cameron, Jewel, everyone else that was here. I saw Gregory was here. Derek Moses was here. Obviously, I'm going to miss a bunch of people. Jesse, you came in the last couple minutes of it. I'd like to thank Jeremy, Travis, and Matt for coming on. It's very hard to find time and obviously sit on here and start a conversation with everyone, but they make it happen because they love the community. And we hope to do more of these, and we hope to also see you in Chicago because I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in Chicago and having a lot of beers and hanging out. Frank, also, I can't forget Frank Simmons. It was such a pleasure to meet him. Finally.
Hey, Chris, can I make one little last shout out?
You may absolutely fucking not. This is no, go ahead.
I'd like to say big shout out to everybody who went out there. Big shout out to all the communities in the greater hookah community in the United States for anything they did to further the expo, to make it better for all of the people. Doesn't matter what group. Hookah Unbiased, THL, Hookah Enthusiasts, Four Call Gang, Vegas Hookah. It was just everybody. It's a team effort. It's not one group. It's everybody working together, and that's something that we should focus more on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's great to see.
As you can tell by Travis's shirt, he is sporting another group shirt, so there is much love to go out to other groups as well. I know we all fight from time to time, but what family doesn't fight from time to time? You know,
we're a very dysfunctional family.
If you do not fight, are you really family?
Yeah, I mean. Really quick, just to address, I guess, some of the stuff that happened earlier today, even though I wasn't. Shit happens. We get over it. Next day, something else happens. But when we all meet up, we're all family, and we all hang out together. And for the most part, I think we all respect each other and each other's opinions, and we will try to keep that going forward. That sense of community we fostered here in HU. And we will definitely, try to be that pillar that you can, be like, well, these guys are stand-up dudes. Because we try to do the right thing when we can,
May I have 60 seconds of the floor, Chris?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're a very dysfunctional family. We're all trying to promote unity. It's very interesting to see a lot of guys very, very passionate about something in the same room. I would like to actually give a shout out to Oasis, just because we basically did what we wanted to do, and they allowed us to do it. When you go into somebody else's home, you always got to respect that. And much love to Mike, Jack, Dom, Brendan, Forbes, all of you guys. You basically are family to us, and we love you, even though we're dysfunctional.
Yeah, and for anyone who hasn't seen our Oasis meetup video, it's up on my YouTube channel. Not to plug it, but it's also up on the HU YouTube page as well. We wanted to give back to the vendors and the people who supported us, so I tried to do the best I could with that video, giving thanks to Oasis. They were very busy, very packed. I know a lot of people were like, oh, they're too packed, I can't do this, can't do that, but man, these guys worked their ass off. They had 11 people working that night. And I only had to wait maybe like 15 minutes for a hookah with all that madness. And when it came, you forget about the wait. It's hot, it's muggy, your ass at the elbows, and you're still having a good time because you're with your friends and your family. So on that, Matt, would you like to say anything else since Travis and Jeremy had their 60 seconds?
No, I don't think so. I think that.
No, you have 60 seconds. You have to say
something. Is this like the closing thoughts on Jerry
This is the closing.
What's up, afternoon tokers? Come on, give us a
Let's get right into the news.
Exactly.
First and foremost, thank you guys so much for having me on. Chris, thank you for inviting me to the classroom. Thank you, Travis and Jeremy, for being a part of this. Thank you for showing me such an amazing time. Things that I did in Vegas we'll never talk about again, but goddamn.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Trust me, I forgot most of it, but I remember enjoying it. And that's the biggest thing about the entire experience. You guys are completely like family. It's that crazy type of thing where at the moment we walked in the room.
We are not like family. We are family.
Our family. The moment I walked in the room, there was not a single person that wasn't ready to give me a hug. There wasn't a single person that wasn't ready to say hello to me. And it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, the entire thing was, we as a community, I know, right there, Travis, I want you. I can't wait till we have another time where we get to hang out and spend time to hang out. Honestly, it was a blast, fantastic. You know what? I want to give my big thank you, shout out, if I may, to Eddie, Paul, and DeBracken, because they made this trip so exciting for me. I'm going to keep going until like I hear the music start to ring in my headphones. That made the trip absolutely fantastic. And before you mute me, I'm gonna end it now.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Dab, 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 dab. All right, guys, thank you very much, and that will be the end of this.